Try to visualize how a monster behaves. If you've seen one of those horror movies, you'll realize that a monster has a dangerous and aggressive appearance, which causes anxiety and fear. A monster may also possess supernatural abilities, generally capable of wreaking havoc. This may be a reference to the SpaceX Super Heavy booster, though the Super Heavy has only physical powers. What precisely makes it perform like a monster? Stick around as we unveil the realistic physical power and performance of SpaceX's new Super Heavy rocket. Elon Musk's goal is to rule space with his inventions, and while the world will not laugh at him if he fails, he has made the world realize that nothing is impossible and whatever is desired and worked for can be achieved in reality. Elon wants to launch a serial completely stacked spacecraft into space for space orbital missions. He intends to create the Starship dependable enough to convey astronauts' equipment to space, as well as a vessel capable of carrying out any space shuttle or tours as fast as possible. The Super Heavy, which is an absolute beast of a machine, has been designed to be the foundation of success of all SpaceX Mars missions. Without it, SpaceX will not be able to pierce through the Earth's thick atmosphere and go to a lower Earth's orbit, let alone travel to Mars. Wait a minute, let's briefly remember when rocket launches were simply a pipe dream. This year, 2022, celebrates 96 years since Dr. Robert H. launched the first liquid fuel rocket around March 16, 1926. His initial 3-meter-tall rocket used gasoline and liquid oxygen to achieve a height of 12 meters. It has a single engine and weighs roughly 4.5 kgs. This was the first effort of rocket technology to reach a height of 12 meters above the ground. That's pretty laughable, considering it was intended to be a rocket, not a commercial airplane that will just fly into the sky and return. However, at that time, this rocket made us believe that one day a machine might perhaps take up from the Earth's surface and journey into space. Elon Musk, one of the world's most ambitious investors, stepped into the scene to revolutionize rocket engineering. We were all eager to fold our hands and watch him work on the Falcon 9 rocket, which appeared to be something we're used to, and before we could say jack, Elon Musk had added something that we're not used to. Our gaze couldn't take a break from what had been fabricated into reality. What I'm referring to here is SpaceX Super Heavy booster and its Raptor engines. And guess what? The Super Heavy in particular does not seem like what we always see. Like the type of rocket NASA and Boeing always used to send astronauts to ISS, standing at 230 feet tall and powered by 29 Raptor engines, it appears to be something unusual. Like a monster that our eyes cannot stop gazing at. Elon Musk intends to work on the Starship and make it the king of space. SpaceX has completed stacking its newest Super Heavy rocket prototype, the first of its kind, designed to house 33 new Raptor V2 engines around 11 weeks after the process began. Super Heavy, which is designed to propel the gigantic second stage Starship, known as the upper stage, all the way to orbit, has a complex engineering analytic development, but it's kind of unique. Giving a thought about SpaceX's odd plans to land rockets on massive mechanical arms built on a skyscraper-sized tower, Super Heavy is merely a gigantic vertical launch and vertical landing liquid rocket booster, the likes of which SpaceX already has vast experience with via Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. The sheer size of the Super Heavy is what sets its uniqueness. Super Heavy, which is only one of the two Starship stages, is nearly as tall as two-stage Falcon 9 or Falcon Heavy rocket, measuring roughly 69 meters or 225 feet from tip to tail. A single Super Heavy rocket, literally a big steel tube at 9 meters diameter, should be able to carry at least 6 or 7 times as much propellant as Falcon 9 and 2 or 3 times as much as Falcon Heavy. The number of engines and max thrust are both mind-blowing. It's now time that I introduce the newest SpaceX Super Heavy booster, known as the Booster, or you can call it B7. Booster 7, or B7, SpaceX's newest Super Heavy prototype, improves those engine-related capabilities even more. Instead of the 29 Raptor V1 engines seen on the Super Heavy B4, Booster 7 can accommodate up to 33 Raptor V2 engines. While the V2 design streamlines the Raptor's design to make it easier to construct, install, and operate, it also dramatically increases maximum thrust from roughly 185 tons to at least 230 tons. In theory, Booster 7 may deliver at least 40% greater thrust than Booster 4 if Super Heavy B7 is built with all 33 Raptor V2 engines capable of operating at the specified thrust level. B4, on the other hand, has yet to try a single static fire. After more than a half year at the orbital launch site, SpaceX has yet to conduct a single full wet dress rehearsal, a launch simulation just to shy of ignition or static fire test on Booster 4. This has led many to believe that the prototype is doomed. With Booster 7 maybe only a week or two away from test readiness, SpaceX now has a credible alternative capable of both delivering the flame and kicking off the certification of the first prototype planned to employ Raptor V2 engines. Booster 7 also has thinner raceways, which is an external conduits that protect circuitry and smaller plumbing, a revised configuration of the pressure containers, hydraulic power units, and umbilical panel situated aft, and major tweaks to the aero covers that fit over the aft hardware. Aside from the Raptor engines, the two most important changes made to the super heavy Booster 7 are undoubtedly a pair of strake-like aero covers and the installation of massive interior header tanks used to store landing propellants. A set of new sharp-edged aero covers are now planned to slip over the top of two new pairs of 5 composited, overwrapped pressure vessels, abbreviated as COPVs, that run about a third of the way up the tanks of Booster 7. It's probable that they'll work similarly to strakes, which are fixed wing-like structures meant to increase aerodynamic stability. Super Heavy B4, on the other hand, has 4 sets of 2 COPVs positioned evenly around the edge of its engine section. Finally, SpaceX has modified Super Heavy Booster 7 with a full set of internal header tanks, implying that it'll now be able to store all required landing propellant in separate tanks. This reduces the quantity of pressurization gas required and makes it considerably easier to guarantee that the Super Heavy's Raptor engines get an unbroken supply of fuel throughout complicated in-space and in-atmosphere maneuvers. Following SpaceX's decision to convert Super Heavy's tank vents into maneuvering thrusters, header tanks should reduce the likelihood of liquid propellant being mistakenly leaked while the rocket is in microgravity or free fall. Hopefully, Super Heavy B7 will be completely built and ready for proof testing. It's extremely likely that SpaceX will need several more months to refine Raptor V2's design, construct and validate at least 33 of the engines, but in the meantime, Booster 7 may begin cryogenic proof and wet dress rehearsal testing as early as late March or early April. Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, has disclosed one of several modest design changes planned in the interim, not long after confirming plans to add 3 additional Raptor engines to Starship and expand the upper stage's fuel tanks. Musk revealed on January 3rd that SpaceX is completely moving one of the 2 backup header tanks that Starships utilize to store landing propellant. A diagram scribbled on the side of the future Starship rings reveals more plans to modify the majority of the subsections that SpaceX stacks to make a Starship, in addition to an enhanced nose cone design. Finally, another design modification has been discovered on hardware that will be used in the first full-thrust Super Heavy rocket. Musk's confirmation about the modification of the methane header tank comes just a few days after a sketch on the side of the Starship piece verified many other minor design alterations. SpaceX engineers and technicians have frequently utilized the hardware itself as a sort of whiteboard to sketch out ideas and physically comment ongoing work, thus hieroglyphics on star bases are not unusual. This specific graphic was quite comprehensive and instructive, successfully demonstrating how the design of the Starship will alter beginning with Ship 24. The modifications are straightforward. SpaceX will simply add an additional ring to numerous Starship sections. For modern spacecraft, 6 separate parts are stacked to form the cylindrical tankage and hull of the Starship. The present nose cone design requires 5 more stacked parts to be completed. It takes around 7 stack operations to fully construct the fundamental framework of a Starship, counting the nose as one. With the design improvements drawn out of the Starship S-24 ring and an updated nose cone debuting on the same ship, fully erecting a nose cone will now take 2 or 3 stacks, down from 5, and fully completing a Starship would take 6 stacks. While not a substantial redesign, the improvements will greatly simplify and possibly speed up Starship assembly, with further favorable consequences for plumbing, wiring, and heat shield installation. Do you know of any new features or upgrades to the SpaceX Super Heavy Booster 7 that have recently been implemented? Be sure to check out your favorite SpaceX video here.